As global nuclear tensions grow, the extent of Russian threat to nuclear safety does not end at Putin's atomic weapons. Throughout the war, the Russian military has occupied nuclear power plants, a main and often sole source of power for vast regions of the country. I sat down with Petro Kotin, the Ukrainian head of all nuclear power plants in Ukraine, including the Zaporizhzhia plant, known as ZNPP. It's the largest nuclear power plant in all of Europe, and it's been under Russian control since early March. It's at the center of dangerous shelling throughout the war. While the Russians need Ukrainian staff to maintain the facilities, Kotin says workers are being tortured and killed.
The psychological situation with personnel is very bad in there, and it is very hard for them to operate the plant in these conditions, because they are actually periodically captured, tortured and beaten. One people was killed and actually beaten to death in the diver from the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Another one was just shot in his home. They just came and started shooting on him from automatic guns, and he is alive by miracle actually, but got like 5 bullets in his body. In there, and this is awful situation against civilians, against civilian nuclear personnel at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant.
Back in August, our Morgan Chesky spoke to the former plant worker allegedly shot by the Russians.
In a Zaporizhzhia hospital, former plant mechanic Zaporizhzhia told me after Russians took over in March, anyone pro-Ukraine disappeared or died. Zaporizhzhia showing where Russian bullets struck his leg, arm, stomach, and cheek.
Russia has not commented publicly on the accusations or on the situation inside the plant, other than to say they are, quote, liberating the area and taking over the management. They've also previously said Ukrainian forces were shelling the plant as well. Currently, all 6 ZNPP nuclear units at the power plant are on standby, not providing power to the region. But with a brutal Ukrainian winter coming, Kotin says at least one unit must be operational to supply heating for hundreds of thousands of people.
If they damage this infrastructure from where we get this electricity on the plant, then we will be in great danger. Melting of core, and after this meltdown of core, you have whole core, and then it will be like Chernobyl-size accident, nuclear accidents.
Chernobyl, the site of the 1986 nuclear disaster that contaminated 150,000 square kilometers in Belarus, Russia, and Ukraine, with radioactive fallout scattered over much of the northern hemisphere. 36 years later, some areas remain uninhabitable.
During this occupation, we have already had at Zaporizhzhia 14 serious operational events, including 3 blackouts already.
If the power supply helping cool down the radioactive core is cut off, Kotin says the only thing preventing a nuclear meltdown are temporary backup generators that run on huge amounts of diesel fuel every day, fuel that is trucked in to Russian-occupied territory.
How worried should people in Ukraine be about the situation at the Zaporizhzhia power plant?
You just lose external power supply to the plant. After that, you go to blackout mode, and we need NATO. We need all the support from the international community, which can be provided here.
And tonight, Cal Perry joins us now from Kyiv. Cal, with the threat of torture or even death, why are these workers even showing up? Do they have no other choice?
Well, look, one of the issues here is it's impossible to get anywhere near this plant because it's encircled by Russian troops. The presumption is, of course, that there's only so many people who know how to work and function a nuclear power plant. The fear here is that Russia is going to divert that power back into Russia and away from Ukraine. If you look at the city behind me, Tom, it's pitch black, partly because people have been told to conserve energy. Officials saying, if you don't turn off the lights, we're going to have to start lighting the candles. Add to that, recently as last week, the deputy head of the plant was abducted, and we never heard Russia say anything about that at all.
And Cal, in other news, we mentioned you're in Kyiv. Talk to us about these kamikaze drone strikes that have been happening in the capital of Ukraine.
They've been coming in waves. This morning, there were 28 drones, officials said, fired at once from Russian positions into the capital. 23 of them, we understand, were shot down. 5 of them hitting that residential building, killing 4, wounding another 4. Dozens of people were rescued. But, Tom, we've never heard anything like this. These drones fly in low. They fly slowly. They're basically like rockets with a propeller on the back of them. People were firing their weapons into the air, trying to shoot these drones. At the beginning of the day, the city was telling people, if you see a drone, shoot it down. By the end of the day, they were saying, leave it to police, leave it to the army. It's one more indication of how the security situation here is just getting worse and worse, Tom.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.